Hey guys, and welcome to my patch notes review for the launch is coming update. There is also a little update that I want to say before I get into the patch notes, and that is I am going to be streaming the launch of Trove on July 9th, which is in 2 days on Thursday, and I'm going to be doing a 12-hour live stream or longer depending on how far I can go with the launch before I get bored or something. And I'm going to start at 9:45 a.m. PST, which is 15 minutes before the game goes live on Steam. So make sure to come by and hang out if you want to. I'm going to be going for a very long time, and we can all enjoy the launch together. So I wanted to keep that short and not too much detail, so that way we can get into these patch notes, because these patch notes are huge, and it's going to take a very long time. So starting out with EU servers, something that a lot of EU players have been wanting. You can now choose to play on EU servers from Glyph using the drop-down menu in the upper right, and EU players will automatically get sent to EU adventure worlds when entering an adventurer's portal. You can still join other players if you're North American or European, just expect to have higher latency if you do, and you can use /region to see what region your world is in. So if I go to this world right here real quick and type /region, you can tell I am in the US live realm. Okay, so building got awesome section. You can now click and drag in build mode to place multiple blocks at a time. So if I have this block, I can now place it from there. And if I hold my left mouse, you can see that it is dragging along. And then you can see that red thing, or when the blocks get red, they now get red when attempting to place a block in an invalid spot. So if I move out the way, you can now see it's white again, and then if I move inside, it's red. Also in build mode, the mouse wheel now rotates the block being placed, which it actually doesn't happen because they took all... I'm having a hard time saying this. They took out the mouse wheel keybind, as well as the golden thread keybind, and they haven't acknowledged it yet, so I don't know if they know, or maybe it's just my client, but they took out the J keybind and the mouse wheel. As you can see, I can't... Okay, there it goes, actually. Maybe it was just bugged. Okay, so now, if I press this, I can now rotate it. You can see I'm using my mouse wheel, and you can see, hopefully, that the table is being spun in a circle with my mouse wheel. Okay, so ignore how I said it was a bug. I still don't have J, but the mouse wheel does work. I guess it was just bugged out for me at first. Okay, so the Mo updates section added dungeon icons to Fog of War in the map. You can now see where layers and dungeons are located in explored areas. So now there's a Fog of War system. You can't see any dungeons outside of it. You have to explore the area, and you can see the light green compared to the dark green. And in the light green, you can see where dungeons are, and in the dark green, you cannot. So that's kind of like a exploring type update where they want you to go out and find the dungeons yourself, which is actually kind of good. The compass now shows large dungeons and recipe layers, and the world map now shows recipe layers. So if you see the legend on the left side of the map, you can see the large dungeon icon and the recipe dungeon icon, which the recipe dungeon icon I wish they had so long ago, because I spent so much time farming those recipes. But for all the players that haven't done what I've done, you guys are in for a very good update. Chat improvements, which is my favorite update of this patch. Chat messages now have a right-click menu for the sender where you can add them as a friend, invite them to join you, ignore them, or report them for spam. You can now report players for spam, and the text for different club channels now have text in various shades of green, which I'm only in one club, so I can't really show you that, but I can show you the chat. It is actually, you can now press enter and it'll pull up the whole chat, and you can still go through it. And now you can right click and you have all these options, which everybody has been wanting for, well, since the game launched. There is a bug right now though, where if you try to select something that's below your little chat panel, you can't select them. So hopefully that gets hotfixed. I'll probably try and bring it up with the devs to see if they can get that fixed, because that's kind of annoying where if you see someone say they just said, or they just made some like spam or something, you can't right click them and report or ignore. You have to wait till the chat goes up a little bit. but that's the only bad thing about it. It is a very good update, and I'm loving it. Okay, so new mastery levels. Mastery rewards from 130 to 200 have been added, which again, it only went to 120. Now they have added from 130 to 200, which is a little bit of dragon themes. You got a dragon pet or ally. You got a dragon crown, which is a style. The fledgling may be another ally, or it could be a mount. Same with the Marmite dragon at the bottom. The level 200 is actually a mount. So those are some cool little things for the people that have gotten that high mastery levels. I am only 101, so I have a long ways before that. Gamepad support. Added support for gamepads, and the controller currently must be connected before starting Trove, which is actually not a bug. It's actually that like that for every single game on PC, or at least most, if not all, games on PC. You have to have the controller plugged in before you start the game. So I kind of think that's just a warning. So don't think of that as a bug. And I can't scroll in again. See, that might be a little buggy, your scroll wheel, so hopefully they fix that as well. But I have to scroll down real quick. Let me alt tab. Okay, so now with the actual game updates. Newbie experience. The newbie objectives have been adjusted, and there are a few new ones. Again, the golden threads is no longer bindable and no longer in this main menu, so you cannot actually look at that golden thread panel anymore until they fix it. But they added a few new newbie updates, and if you haven't completed objectives that are required to be completed in the tutorial world, you will now be prompted to go back to the tutorial world, which actually happened to me when I first logged in, so everybody's going to get that when you first log in. New players now select their starting class at first login, which, again, amazing update. This gives players, when they first start, the ability to choose whichever class out of the... I think there's 8 classes now, maybe 10. So let me just go over there and check and show you guys. Okay, so yeah, out of the 10 classes, you no longer start with both the Knight and the Gunslinger. You can now choose which one. So value-wise, it is less, or it's actually a bad update, but gameplay-wise, it is an amazing update for players just starting. They can choose, say they want to be a Boom Ranger when they first start playing. You can now do that. So again, amazing update. Really glad they added that. New in the store. Chaos chests have been randomized. This is launch week wing extravaganza, which, if you look at the welcoming screen, you can see those neon night sky wings, which, if you watched my previous video, you know these are such a pain to get. They took me hours just to find the boxes, and I didn't have the flux, which you need thousands to get. So if someone gets these, they're so lucky. But yeah, that's the big item in the cash chest this week. Pricing has been updated to account for currency conversion rates. This means things will cost more euros and pounds. So mine is American because I live in the US, but if you live in Europe, it will actually do the correct conversion and you will no longer see 19.99. It will be your country's currency rate. The credit packs now cost 1 less cent in American US dollars, which is just, I guess, the 99 mentality or shopping mentality. You guys know what I'm talking about. This next thing, I know a lot of people are going to complain about, but if you have seen the way Trove has been going, you knew this was coming, and that is these patron passes. These grant a ton of nice bonuses, including +2 chaos factor. You can buy 15 and 30-day versions in-game and recurring versions on the Glyph website. So, specifically, these give you 50% experience boost, +2 chaos factor, +2 flash capacity, +5 jump, +50 laser manty, double crafting speed, and +200 magic find. So, I'm not going to say anything about this because I'm sure there's going to be enough complaints on Reddit and their website. I'm just going to move on. Badges, masteries, and collections. So, let's see, badges. Alright, so, just a warning, these new badges are going to take, I'm just going to say, a year to get. of straight playing. So let's get that out of the way. I'm not complaining. This is actually increasing the longevity of the game if you care enough about them. So the first one is quests. You need to now complete 25,000 quests to get the wings, which you can see I have been playing since alpha, which I know there was a wipe in the beta. But even then, I know I haven't played as much, but I have played a lot, and I have only done 2,346 out of the 25,000 quests. So you can tell someone who plays as much as me still have not done anywhere near the amount. Same with blocks destroyed. I have destroyed the amount for the golden block, which is 500,000. But then if you go to the next one, they have now made it 2 million, which is 4 times the amount as the previous tier. So that unless you're doing mining just random blocks everywhere all day, every day, that is still going to take you about a month straight of playtime. So I'm guessing a year of the average person's playtime is going to get this, maybe even longer. Same with boxes. I have done 215 out of the 12,000 required. Consecutive days is bugged for me. It keeps resetting ever since badges came out, so I could have already done the 90-day consecutive one. This is not a bad one. This is actually very easy. You just need to log in. The total days, they added the 180 up from the 120, which I have 57 straight days, which is hundreds of hours. I'm not going to do the math right now. But 180 days is about a year of average playtime, because I played WoW for 5 years straight, 10 hours a day, and I only have about 300 to 400 hours or days logged into that game. So that's going to take a very long time. And fishing, this is probably going to be the one people hate the most, to be honest. 15,000 items fished. I have every single rare fish, and I only have 786. So this is going to take a very long time of just sitting there fishing. So they may adjust these values, because I know people are going to be complaining, even though this is actually good because it increases the longevity of the game. There are still going to be people that say they don't have enough time, and I can understand that, but I'm looking at this as a good thing. The collections have been updated, so that's what you have been seeing. These little drop-down menus are now in every little thing, which is actually really nice. It looks good. Samantha, where is she? She is a seasonal, right? Yeah, Samantha now grants 50 mastery points. I think she was giving 25 or 30 before, now they upped it. And one more thing in the collections section. Mastery level 0 to 30 have had their qubit rewards drop down to 500, and they have replaced the credit rewards. So that one used to be credit, now it's 100 shapestone, and this used to be 1,000 qubits, and now it's 500. One thing though to note, if you have been already past level 30 mastery, is that they did not take away any qubits or credits from you, and you also gained the stuff that they added, I think. I'm not too sure, I haven't checked on it. But even if they didn't give you all the new stuff, it's still good that they didn't take away anything. So, scrolling down again, and this is going to be a very long video, I'm sorry about it, but very big update. Now in the class section, improved projectile targeting for range classes. That's not a projectile. I don't know completely what it means, or exactly what it means, but I guess they improved it. And here is an update which I have been talking about for a long time. If you have watched my Let's Play series when I leveled up my Fate Trickster and my Pirate Captain, and that is enemies now aggro the Fate Trickster's clone, the Pirate Captain's pretend pirate, and the Tomb Raiser's the minions whenever they are in range instead of when they are spawned. So if you've watched my Let's Play videos again in the past, this is especially noticeable in the spawning dungeons where they spawn 4 minions at a time. If you had a clone out and the next wave spawns in, they would go straight for you instead of your clone, because you needed to spawn your clone after they have already targeted you. Now you no longer have to worry about that. It's just a range mechanic, which is amazing. Okay, so moving on. Most explosive player abilities now do much reduced block damage. The Boom Ranger is the exception. So the old Candy Barbarian #1 ability farming is no longer a thing. You can now only use a Boom Ranger for mass mining with a character's ability, which I never really did before, so this isn't something that I care for. I always thought that just using normal bombs was a lot quicker, but to each their own. Fixed bug where Dracolite is sometimes unable to use abilities in Dragon form. I think I crashed maybe, I'm not sure what's going on. But that's a good update. I haven't ran into it, but that's a very bad thing if you can't use your abilities. And yeah, I crashed. Alright, I'm back. I actually crashed like 4 or 5 times. So hopefully I don't crash anymore, because it's kind of making the video take longer. But moving on, I'm not gonna complain about it. Fixed bug where Dracolite familiar could disappear until changing classes or relogging. That's actually something that people have brought up in the comments below, or before, that they always had their Dracolite familiar despawning sometimes, which is your little minion on your right, which would take away your ability to use your right-click ability, which is actually a big source of your single target damage as a Dracolite, so I'm glad they fixed that, and I'm sure the people in my comments from before are very glad that that is fixed. And now the Spikes Thorns affix, which is the Reflect affix that they added in that Monster Bash update. It no longer debuffs the Fade Trickster's basic attack, which is your passive ability. It no longer takes away your 4 times damage, which is good. Okay, so moving on to loot. If your Chaos Factor increases after receiving your daily Chaos chest, you will get additional chests on your next login instead of having to wait until the next day. Which, if you guys seen my, I think it was my I'm Back Let's Play episode, I hit Mastery Rank 100, but I didn't get a chest because I needed to wait till the next day. And now, once you hit Mastery 100 and any Chaos Factor after that as well, you get the chest just by relogging instead of having to wait the whole day. So you get a little bit more value out of it, which is good. So, as an example for me, I could have gotten 2 Chaos chests by the time I got my first one, if this update was live. But, moving on, increase the range in which players receive loot. Now, this one, I'm not exactly sure the specifics. It can either be one of 2 things. It is either, when you hold down E, it's going to increase the radius in which you can grab items to you, or, say this tree is a dungeon and I am right here. You used to not get loot if you were this far away, but now you may get loot being a little bit farther away from the dungeon once the chest is opened. So it's one of those 2 things, and either one is a good thing, so good update. Moving on to crafting. The Deconstructor is now known as the Loot Collector to better reinforce its function to new players. I don't get that. A Loot Collector does not sound better than a Deconstructor when you're disenchanting or deconstructing things. But, to each their own, I guess. I guess the devs have something else in mind. Moving on, the Bounding Boot Ally can now be crafted from the Nautical Assembler in the hub, which is this little crafting table right here at the Pirate Den. It is the first boot. It used to be these 4, and they added this guy, which I don't know the stats of it, so I don't know if it's actually a good boot. I would have to look in the collections. But you can now craft it from this table. Multiple stacks of items in your build inventory will now be properly counted when crafting. So for blocks, you can see I have multiple stacks of the yellow. It used to say I only had 9,999 when using the cube converter, and then once I ran out of this first stack, it would actually say that I had 0 blocks when I actually had another 6,000 or so until I reopened the crafting table. Now it's going to update properly, which is good. Where were we? Okay, moving on to hub. Change the featured Club Worlds portal into heart shapes to distinguish them from other portals, which is actually something I got confused about when I first started playing the game, to be honest. I saw that big portal tower, and then I went over here and I saw more portals, and I didn't know what they were for, so I joined them, and it would put you into a club world, and when you first start out, you don't really know what a club world is. You just think it's another world, and I just wandered aimlessly, or mindlessly, rather, in someone's club world without knowing what I was doing. So this is to better distinguish them. I know they've always had that little heart at the bottom, but this is just more better. Or better. That made sense. This is better way of doing it. And I actually like the way they look. I don't know why. But made the runner-up featured World Portal white to distinguish them from the novice portals, which you can see at the bottom. They kept the color that they used to be. They used to be that little light green, which is a little similar to the green over there. And now they're white to better distinguish them for newer players. And there is now updraft in the hub, which you can see. Is it over there? No, they spawn randomly around the hub, but also in the portal, or in the hub, there's this one at the dragon area. Which I don't really see the actual use of this, but I guess it's just a little fun thing they added. So I'm gonna scroll down some more. And we're now in the adventuring section. So adventuring, many NPCs' abilities do much less block damage. Which just means the overhead smashes from the skeletons and stuff, they no longer just put you through the ground. Sky Portal should no longer require a level to enter, which I think it was Uber level 5 level after the last update, when they added levels to all the portals. It used to have to be level 26, I think. Now they removed it again, which is very good because a lot of people need their rune crafting done, so you can only do that through the Sky Realm. The Healing Pylon boss ability now spawns less frequently, heals less frequently, and takes fewer hits to destroy. So they're just nerfing that new boss ability that they added a couple weeks ago. Or was it? Maybe it was last week, I'm not too sure. Reduce the damage of fireball traps again. I think they did that last patch or the patch before that. Reduce the duration of flamethrower traps and lava effects. So if you run through lava, it's not gonna stay on you as long as it used to, and same with flamethrowers, it's gonna be a little easier to run past them because they don't shoot for as long. No longer will loot sometimes fall through the world when opening a chest or placing a block on top of it, which is something that kind of started to annoy me a little bit because I kept opening chests and then there was just no loot. And I guess it was just falling through the world, so they fixed that, hopefully. Ore now spawns less often in Novice and Adept worlds, which is the green and the blue portals. Which may seem like a bad thing to new players, but this is actually good, because it... Not intentionally, I'm guessing. Like my example, I'm guessing they weren't intending at all. But as a person that makes guides and knows some of the most efficient ways to farm, going into a Newbie and Adept portal was actually the worst way because you had less biome diversity. So this further encourages higher level players to go to those higher level realms and farming there, which is actually the most efficient way to begin with. So that's a good update to encourage players to do those things. Created a new quest completed portal for completed dungeons, which is that the portal which they just updated to be gold and green. That's gonna say quest completed on it when you hover over it, I'm guessing. Added delay to healing pylon so it doesn't heal immediately upon spawning. Again, they're just nerfing that boss ability. Okay, so moving on to UI and settings. Change the collection window default key binding from I to Y. So if you press Y, that is now the new one. And change select worlds from Y to L, corresponding to the previous patch. When setting a control binding that conflicts with another, you are now given the option to swap these bindings, which is pretty useful. Usage text now appear on inventory tooltips. So if you hover over something you can open with the left click, or like a recipe, it says press left mouse to use for anything that you can use besides equipment. Okay, yeah, it does actually. It says use right mouse to equip. So it helps players distinguish between the two. Okay. Moving on, trying to find where I was. This is a very long list. Okay, pressing escape when the system menu and main menu are open when I'll close them both. So if you press escape, you see this F1 menu, which is actually the main menu. And then this is the system menu. If you press escape again, it's going to close them both at the same time. Having the main menu open will no longer stop the mouse from being recaptured when entering a portal. So if you had the F1 menu open and you were running around, you can see you have your mouse open, and you would enter a portal. Your mouse would actually disappear, like how it did right there, and it would no longer reappear. Say if you held Alt, it would no longer come back. So until you relogged. So now let's fixed. Fixed the last member in the club roster being cut off. I've actually noticed that too. It was a little weird to me that it's always been there, but now you can see the full list of members. Hotkeys displayed in the HUD are now updated immediately after rebinding. So say I rebound my mouse 2 button to something else, it would show up immediately. And same with the next little patch, it's just a little more technical. Tooltips and some other UI strings that reference hotkeys now display the hotkey that is currently bound instead of being hard-coded. Again, that's just a technical term for what was already said above. Okay, so scrolling down again. Okay, so bug fixes and polish. Increased client stability, which is basically your ping, your client ping. So input lag, which for a launch is coming update, this is definitely needed, because that is probably the biggest complaint in Trove, is that it is so laggy and so horribly unstable that me personally think they cannot launch the game under this condition. So it looks good that they're taking steps to fix it. Fix a rare crash due to race condition. I don't know what that means necessarily, so maybe someone in the comments can tell me what that means. Implemented various server improvements, again, to fix the ping of the actual servers that you're connected to, because again, they cannot launch the game in its current state, or I guess its previous state before this update. I actually can't see, they took out the thing to actually tell you what your ping was. Maybe they're trying to be a little sneaky with it. I'm not too sure, I'm not gonna accuse them of anything, but you can't really tell if you're actually getting better improvements or not. Fixed bug where you could sometimes move at mounted speed while running and vice versa, which is actually pretty funny because this has been in the game since the game has been out, where if you, for me personally, whenever I would like left click and attack out of my mount, I would keep my mounted speed as if I was mounted, and if I mounted up, I'd be going very slow like if I was walking. So they fixed that. Finally. The client will no longer queue multiple join me requests from the same player. I think that just means, like, if you ever see someone's or a Try on World's live stream, they would get a bunch of join requests piled up, and they would have to press decline for like 5 minutes straight. I think you can only receive one join me request at a time, and then anyone else trying to spam you is going to get maybe a message saying this person is currently being invited, something like that. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know too sure, or I'm not too sure exactly what that means. That's just my guess. Fix a bug where other clients would crash after a player died while mounted, which is good. Fix bug where mining laser didn't collide with workbenches. Another good thing. Fix a really annoying bug where the mining laser could target blocks behind the player. That's actually a pretty funny bug. That never happened to me, but that'd be funny to see your little laser shooting from behind you instead of in front of you. Blocks will no longer sometimes mysteriously reappear after being destroyed or disappear after being placed, which is something that I have ran into when placing like gardening plots. Whenever I place down a little gardening plot, say like a mushroom or something, I actually couldn't see it, but I could mine it to get it back into my inventory. So I think that's what they're fixing. Spikes created by Death Knight Spike Bomb and Bone Blade Wraith Spike Slam are no longer lootable. I actually never noticed that. So I guess that's good they fixed it. Known issues, which this is not the complete list of known issues. I have a ton, personally, which I think I'm going to start a thread on Reddit after this video is uploaded, and try to get everyone's bugs compiled in a little list for the devs to fix, because I have a lot of bugs right now. If you enter a shadow portal, EU and NA players will get sent to separate worlds. So currently right now, if you're on an EU client from the drop-down menu, you cannot play with NA players in shadow arenas. So that's something you have to keep in mind. The Dark Infineon wings don't look right. I don't necessarily know what that means. Gamepad support. Some PS4 controller buttons are not currently mapped correctly. So those are the 3 little warnings they're giving you. And I have a ton, but I'm not going to say them in this video because that's going to take forever. I am going to start a thread on Reddit to get everyone's bugs in a little compiled list to help them with their launch in 2 days. So moving on to audio, Boomeranger's double sword attack has a new sound. The Ice Dragon's Frost Breath has had its audio polished. Boss Gravity Well audio added and Boss Magic Beam audio added. I'm assuming to better help players distinguish them. Cactus Man and Golem's sounds added. Okay, so moving on. Scroll down. Alright, we're almost done. Visuals. There are now some new default styles to enjoy. I have too many styles to actually tell which ones are considered default. Oh, here we go. I don't know which ones are added. I'm guessing the ones right here were added. Okay, so I see now. I didn't see this before, but I do now. They have the default ones, which are the ones that you start out with when you first buy the class, like the Chip Sword, the Neonite Blade, Wing, and the Candy Axe for like the Candy Barbarian, the Everyday Fire Starter for the Dracolite. They have now Worn Flintlock. No. Worn Flintlock was already there. I'm trying to remember. This is pretty hard. Armored Autocannon. That one's new. Wormwood Bodo is new. Soul Stealer is new. Sapient Scepter is new. And Protector's Purpose is new. Okay, so those are all the new ones. And for some reason, I don't have the Soul Stealer. Okay, that was going to come with the new class, duh. So this one's going to come. So this one's not technically new. Or technically it is, but not necessarily. You just have to buy the class for that one. Okay, so moving on. Where was I? An assortment of new, uncommon, and rare face and hat styles have been added to the game, which is the green and blue portals. Now, when leveling up, you have even more styles, which are face and hats. So that's actually pretty cool. They're adding more styles to go after when leveling up. I'm guessing to help with the new class. For people that have played the game for a long time, they're going to get some new things. New visual effects for the Winter and Dark Boomeranger costumes. All placeable objects now use the placement shader. New visual effects for Ghost and Master of Commanding Pirate class costumes. Added a new feather effect to the Throne Parrot, which I'm actually not going to show you, because every time I try and use my abilities, I crash. So, yeah, just whenever you use your right click with the Pirate Captain, now you now like throw a feather along with your little cannon. The models for Laden, Slay, Snowball, and Disc Block Board have been changed to look less like other items or other in-game items. Dragon Breath effects should now be fully in sync with their breathing animation, which I think is the ally. Where is it? Like how I have the Azulian Dragonling. It says damaging enemies have a chance to blast them with fire. I think that's what that one's referring to. I don't think it's referring to the number 2 for the Dracolite. Okay, so now community content. We're getting down to the bottom. Pearlescent Pinion Wings have been added to the badge rewards, which I can actually show you all the wings. So the pearlescent ones were... I'm actually going to show you from the badges, not the actual wings. Pearlescent is for the 25,000 quests. Midnight Mantle, I think it's for boxes, right? Blocks. Which one was it? I saw them somewhere. Okay, here. Midnight Mantle is for the 90 consecutive days logged in, which until they fix, I can't actually get. Dark Infinity Wings are for the 12,000 boxes opened. Aquabatic Aileron Wings, I think that's how you say it, is for fishing, for the 15,000 fishing items. And Infinian Charger, Radiant Rainmaker, and the Striding Star Chaser have been added to the badge rewards. I haven't seen those ones. Those are mounts. Maybe they're refer a friend, right? Let's see. No. There's somewhere in here. Alright, I'm gonna move on. You guys will probably see them once you start completing your quests. we're getting to the bottom. I don't want to draw out this video any longer. I think it's already been half an hour, which is crazy. Gamepad support advanced. Controller buttons are remappable only in the app data trove.cfg. For now, you can change the stick sensitivity using stick sensitivity in the input section. Default is 1. You can remap any button with the controller shared, controller adventure, and controller build sections, which is in the .cfg file, and use this format. They're telling you how to do the format. So if you're wanting to change your or remap your controller, you have to look at these patch notes because you're not going to be able to know by me talking what these mean. Yeah, I'm not going to go over the next two things because those you have to look at if you're looking to rebind. And that's actually it. I'm actually going to do a let's play video with the controller. Probably only going to do it once because with these type of games, mouse and keyboard is way better. But I'm going to try it out. So look towards my next let's play video if you want to see my input on how the gamepad, how do you say it? I'm trying to think, compares to mouse and keyboard. There we go. So definitely check out. That's going to be my next video that I upload. But besides all that, remember, I'm going to be live streaming for 12 hours, hopefully, and that's a very long time, when the game launches in 2 days on the 9th from 9:45 a.m. till maybe 11 or 12 p.m. So I'm going to be on all day. Make sure to come there and hang out if you want to. Even if no one comes, I'm still going to be streaming, so don't worry about that. And besides that, I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'm not going to say my whole like for a guide thing in this video because this video has gone way too long. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you.